T.Skies Digging Deep Discussions, a show where we talk with local artists, leaders, and professionals about the topics impacting our culture and community. Today we're talking to Shayai Lucero, Board President of Changing Women Initiative, a local Native American-centered health collective. Come back and see us in a moment. Hi everybody, thanks for tuning in. I'm your host, Anjiba Davila Yat'e, Shaye Anjiba Davila, Ashi'e Inishle, and I'm here with Shayai Lucero. She's a citizen of the pueblos of Laguna and Acoma. She's also the board president of Changing Women Initiative and the owner of Earth and Sky Floral Designs and Gallery, which is also in Laguna Pueblo. I wanted to make sure and read that because sometimes if I'm trying to remember things, I say it wrong and I don't want to mess up. So she's going to be here with us today. I'm going to read her bio. It's going to introduce her better than me rambling on. So Shaye is the lifelong student of the traditional Pueblo healing methods and is certified in traditional Mexican healing. In 2016, she was selected as a change maker to attend the United States of Women Summit, which was hosted by the Obama White House. Shaye is the owner of Earth and Sky Floral Designs and the Gallery in Laguna, which recently received the April Fueled by Purpose micro grant. Through Earth and Sky, she is working to indigenize and educate the floral industry by incorporating Pueblo culture into her designs. And I can't wait to talk more to you about that, all of those things. But I also wanted to introduce, or maybe I should just have you introduce, what is Changing Women Initiative?
Guadzi Haupa, Shayai Lucero, Ese, Oikame, Alcumesida, Shashka Hanuetzina Washdisida. Good afternoon. My name is Shayai Lucero. I am from the pueblos of Acoma and Laguna, and I am of the Roadrunner clan from my mother and a Turkey child from my father. Changing Women Initiative is a women's health collective. We're actually a health collective for Native American families. One of our focuses is on women's health, but it's also on maternal health, and then just really trying to make sure that we help produce healthy families in New Mexico. And it's all based on indigenous teachings, indigenous cultural ties, trying to return that back to the healthcare. And because a lot of times you go through a normal clinic, it's very almost mechanical, medical, just medical. It's not person to person, and so we're really trying to work to change the idea of medicine and just make it more Native American, indigenous, cultural based.
Oh gosh, that's so important.
Yes.
As you know, and everybody, because I talk about it all the time, I just had my first baby in September, and I just I wish I had known about your group then, because it was very much like checking off a box of, okay, you saw the doctor, they weighed you, they checked your blood pressure, they sent you home.
Yes.
And I remember they would say well, do you have any questions? And I'm like, I wouldn't even know what question to ask if I had one, you know?
And then you get a little bit limited time with your OB or your midwife.
And then they send you with some papers here, and you're supposed to just go home and be your own doctor and read them.
Yes, exactly, yes.
So it's just incredible what you guys have created. I have, let's see here. I read on the website where it says, you're restoring sovereignty of indigenous midwifery and returning to cultural birth practices. Because so much of Western medicine, if you're going, there's not cultural relevance involved. And I wondered if you could explain to us, we have people watching from all over the country, but also the world, Germany, Australia, I think we have somebody in England that tunes in. What does that mean exactly, cultural relevance for a Native mother or an indigenous mother? What would that look like for her?
Well, Nicole Gonzalez, who is our founder, and she's also the midwifery director of Changing Women Initiative, she, during her tenure in a hospital setting as a midwife, she saw a lot of inconsistencies and a lot of, I guess, racism towards Native American mothers in a regular health care system. She did she got interviewed by ProPublica just recently regarding how Loveless Hospital had separated Native American women from their babies, and it was all based on their zip code. It was just this weird, this weird hospital procedure that only separated the Native American babies from their moms. And as you know, after birth, that time is really important to be with baby. Once baby comes into this world, takes that first breath of air, baby should be surrounded by love, should be surrounded, by parents, by family. And so Nicole has been really trying to work hard to create services for moms that would incorporate those cultural values, to have birth at home if they want to have prenatal care done in the comfort of their home if they need it. Or, moms can come to our clinic as well, because we have a clinic in Santa Fe. But it's just to take that grassroots approach of midwifery back to our communities, and to make, to empower the women that they're strong enough to carry this baby, to carry this life, and to bring it forth into this world, and that empowerment continues even after baby is born. And just, to get our women strong enough to say, hey, this is what I want. This is the kind of the plan I want. And to have midwives and birth assistants and doulas and, and people in the clinic supporting mom. Yeah.
I know we just don't have, in Native communities, historically speaking, there's not, since Western medicine came into our communities, not a lot of choices. You had IHS.
Yes.
Which in Santa Fe closed. Like there's no, or I don't know if the whole clinic closed, but there's no babies.
Nor maternal services.
Yeah, no maternal services. In the 1960s and 70s, there was forced sterilization, where women had hysterectomies and tubal ligations without their knowledge. So there's a whole history of women Native women needing these alternatives and services. And so that's one of the reasons, this is my segue, why we're so excited at T.Skies to be partnering up with you guys for May, because it's Mother's Day month. This Sunday is Mother's Day, all the mamas. And so our new Naja collection, which is here, and also online at tskies.com, 5% of the profit from all of the sales of the Najas through the month of May, we are donating to Changing Women Initiative and the amazing work that they're doing for Native and Indigenous mamas in New Mexico. Is it just New Mexico? Or also
Arizona as well.
New Mexico and Arizona. That's even more awesome.
Yes.
And then today, all of the Najas that we sell, we're donating 100% to Changing Women. So bear with us through while we have our conversation, and then these are the different designs, and we'll talk about them, and then you can, are we taking orders live, or should they go to the website?
I will just say anything that was ordered on the website today.
Okay, so anything that you order on the website today, we are able to keep track of that, and that's going to go to the amazing women of Changing Women Initiative, which I am so honored to have gotten to know and bring on the show and get us partnered with. So one of those obstacles that Native women face, it's not just about not having choices, it's also financial situations and where they're located in rural communities. I mean, gosh, the Navajo Nation doesn't even have water, and half of it, let alone being able to just hop in a car and drive to Loveless. I was so blessed to just have the privilege to be able to drive to see my doctor and just drive to be able to see the baby. So I was reading on your website that the result of that is that in Native communities, the infant mortality rate is second highest in the country, which is, I mean, there's not a lot of us left. We can't afford to be losing our people.
More babies. Yeah.
I mean, it gives me like goosebumps all over just to think how needlessly in 2021 there should be any infant mortality at all, let alone rates and statistics around it for us. So I guess just tell us a little bit more about some of the things that you do through Changing Women, or some of the places of need. You can also donate directly to them if you were to visit their website, which is www.changingwomaninitiative.com. And I believe they have a clinic up in Santa Fe, which is
Yes.
the Corn Mother,
Mother.
Corn Mother Easy Access Clinic.
Yes.
And then they have White Shell
Woman
Home
Home
Birth
Birth.
Services.
Yes.
Yes.
So the services of CWI are based upon the genetic teachings that Nicole grew up with, and so the Core Mother Easy Access Clinic provides women's health care to the women of the community, and it doesn't matter what age you are. We have had people actually come drive from Fort Defiance, from Window Rock, from Tuba, not Tuba City, but Shiprock, Farmington, to come to Santa Fe
Just to be somewhere where they feel safe.
Exactly.
I'm sure.
And most recently, we had an older woman who, it was her first women's health clinic, and she was in her 70s. Navajo woman had come, and it was just because they wanted, like you said, a safe environment. I mean, I grew up with IHS, healthcare.
Same.
Yeah, and so we're all used to the rent-a-docs, the medical personnel who come in, just almost like on a rotating door. So
and
you don't.
And those waits in the waiting
Yes,
room.
and yes, exactly. So you don't get to develop a rapport with your physician or the person who is supposed to be taking care of, helping to take care of you.
You don't really get a primary care doctor. You get whoever is there.
Exactly. And there are very few IHS doctors who do have that commitment to stay within an IHS facility, but it's so rare to have a physician, or especially someone of color, someone that looks like you, stay in that hospital setting for a long time. And so what CWI is trying to do is that we want our clients to come in and feel welcome, and they see somebody who looks like them, who greets them at the door, who may give them a bottle of water and just say, have a seat, and have a conversation about their health. And
I was just there today.
Yeah.
I stopped by today because I donated some of my
Your maternity clothes,
things. Yeah,
yes.
different things that I don't need anymore. And I walked in, and it was like walking into Auntie's living room. Like it feels like a home. It's not sterile. There's beautiful art on the walls. The women come out and greet you. I was just like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Because we do things a little differently. Like when we go somewhere, like we make it our home, whatever that is. And if we're in an environment where we can't make it our home, we feel like aliens there, and we should never feel like an alien. Somewhere.
And I think in Southwest Pueblo or Southwest Native teachings as well, and this may go across the country, but when somebody comes into your home or comes into your place, you're offered water. I mean, because it's the desert. And that's the first thing of importance is water. And so, so if you came into my home, would you like something to drink? And then be followed by, would you like something to eat? Or it's just that kind of community, I guess, teachings and beliefs that we're really trying to bring to CWI.
Right, and that might not seem like important to having a baby, but I think it really is, because you're already so damn stressed out,
right,
and scared, and new mothers, especially, like I was older having my baby, but imagine like being a young mom or a teen mom, and already having to deal with those issues, compounded with not having access or having culturally relevant places to feel safe, to feel heard, having people that look like you that you can talk to if you are unsafe, if you're in a situation at home that you need help. Without feeling like you're going to be judged or the situation's going to get worse,
Or if you have that, that confidentiality may be breached, because I know a lot of our people, they're afraid to go to IHS because, they're like, oh, I don't want my, business being spread, when they're supposed to be like, medical, like HIPAA,
patient
confidentiality, yes. because I know that has been some of the feedback from some of our clients is that they didn't go to an IHS facility because they were worried about their
Which is just,
their news.
that's
being,
just
yeah.
awful.
It is.
That's just awful.
But- and it's still, but it's prevalent in our
The sad fact
communities.
of
Yeah.
the situation.
So what we try to do is like we try to bring the services to the communities. Some of our prenatal clients will get checked out at their home. And then that also gives the midwives an idea if is this environment okay, safe enough to bring a baby in.
Yeah, gosh, that's huge.
And what is really interesting, you talked about how like on Navajo there's no running water, no electricity in some places. Well, Nicole and the midwifery team just had a delivery of our first Hogan birth. And it was a birth in a Hogan. It gives me chills every time I think about that.
Get through this interview without crying.
Yeah, but it was like so incredible that this baby was born in a Hogan, and Dad was there, Grandma was there. It was Mom was there, but they did it without running water and without electricity. So it can be done.
Of course, yeah.
It can be done, and it was so beautiful to see Nicole and her team work in an environment that may seem extreme to the outside world, but that's like the normal.
To the family, it's home.
That's their home. And then to a lot of Navajo people, that's their normal way of living.
And it has been forever.
Exactly. Yeah. They were just continuing on those midwife, those Navajo midwife culture and practices,
Wow.
and brought it to the present. And we have some doula students, or we have a doula. Her name is Hokipa. She's Anishinaabe and Hamas, and she did her first newborn exam. So to know that our clinic is producing future midwives and teaching them, and she was there to see this baby come into the world, and there was like no fear. It was sacred. It was of course hard on the mom because birth is difficult, but at least Mom felt safe and Mom felt in her surroundings, and just to be a part of that is amazing. And for the family to have chosen CWI and say, hey, can you help bring this new one into the world is a gift. It's a huge gift for them to trust us. And so all our goals at CWI are to maintain that trust and also know that we shoulder a lot of responsibility in every decision we make at CWI, whether it's in terms of how we run a meeting, to how we hold our board retreats or speak to one another, or we have that responsibility of the families of our communities, not just to the medical community. There's a lot of people that look at us, and we all take responsibility.
Yeah.
So.
Your aunties to all of
Oh.
us.
I was like, I'm still trying to get used to the auntie, nickname, because for me, my aunties were always older. And as I've been getting, oh, hey, auntie, and it's like, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm getting older.
No, I'm an auntie.
But
too.
I know,
It's like, it's anyone that's just not technically a mom is an auntie, according to me.
So it's just, it's one of those things. I have a my niece, her daughter, the other day she called me, she says, Grandma. I was like, oh. And I was like, oh,
wait a minute.
Wait. I said, I'm cool, auntie. She goes, no. She goes, no, everybody else, you're cool, auntie, but to me, you're grandma.
Aww.
I was like, okay, I'll let you get away with that. So,
Well, we have somebody saying hello from Germany.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us. I'm just going to do a little recap of what's going on today. This is our Digging Deep discussion with Shayai Lucero, and she's the board president of Changing Women Initiative.
I got you gone. but it was nice to meet
It
you.
was nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and I wanted to donate this.
Come into the screen.
Well, okay. This is a squash blossom that we have up in the shop.
Oh my gosh.
And we'll promote it all month. We don't sell it today.
Yeah.
But we'll say the profit from the sale of this, which is $3,000, will go towards the business.
Oh, Shep, you're so
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
wonderful.
We'll get it.
Thank you.
Yeah, so if you want to show that off.
The what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna hug you.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
It's beautiful.
Oh my God.
So,
Wow.
so if you would also like to give to this incredible, beautiful organization, Changing Women Initiative, our nausea collection is available online at tskies.com. Through the month of May, we're donating 5% of every sale, the profit of every sale, to Changing Women Initiative. Today, if you order today, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo, we're donating 100% of every sale today. So get on there and get your Mother's Day gifts, because it's all going to this incredible,
Wow.
incredible cause. And yeah, wow. And also happy Cinco de Mayo.
Yes. To all
I brought
our,
I couldn't not bring my hot pink sombrero. And my
to all our relatives
all
to
of
the
our
south.
relatives down
Yes.
south.
Wow.
Viva la Mexico!
Oh, that's gorgeous.
I know, we're just like, oh, it's
Oh,
beautiful.
lump in my throat. Try not to cry because
Well, I know I'm
wearing
already.
mascara.
We're just, that's how it's going to be today. It's okay. It's a
Wow,
beautiful
that's-
topic. Talking about life coming into the world should always be happy tears. And you're helping, your organization's helping create those happy tears.
Yes, yeah. It's been we've been going under reorganization. I came on the board in August of 2019, and Nicole, the organization was doing a revamp, and then at the board retreat that fall was when we had like almost a board, and that it's my first board, so I was like, well, how hard is this gonna be? Like, oh, it's been a lot. It's been a lot of work. We're an all volunteer board, so all our board members don't get paid, but we love the organization and we love what we do. We take a lot of responsibility for this organization, and it's been a journey. We talk about CWI in terms of like Nicole's baby, and we're all helping her grow this baby, grow her dream, and we're there as her assistants and as her support. And now this baby is growing into the toddler phase, so it's like one day it's like, it listens to you, and the next minute it's like no, so we've had a little bit of kinks to work through, but for the most part it's just really it's been really great to see how it's growing. And this past year, Marina Farrell, who you met,
Yes.
she's our executive director. She was actually president of the board, and she moved into the executive director position. She has so much experience in the nonprofit world, and she's also a midwife herself. So she helped found one of the first free clinics in the Phoenix area.
Oh, wow.
And so she brings a lot of experience and a lot of knowledge to CWI in terms of nonprofit work and how things should be run, and so with her expertise and with following with what Nicole's plans have been, we've just been able to hire more staff, change the clinic, just do a lot of different things,
And that's
refocus
another
everything.
thing too that
Yeah.
I wanted to touch on is that it's a free clinic, correct?
Yes, it's a free clinic. And if you do have insurance or private or if you're on Medicare or Medicaid,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Medicaid, we accept that as well. But if you can't afford healthcare, we have grants. We look for grants. We look for funding to help pay and offset those expenses.
That's amazing.
Because healthcare is a human right.
Yes.
And we really feel that it should be a right given to anybody, not just a privilege. So
Absolutely.
we really work hard to find the funding sources and to make sure that our clients are well taken care of. Because in terms of like with the home birth services or maternal health, we don't just stop when baby's born.
Mm-hmm.
The postpartum care extends beyond a normal care.
Oh yeah.
And then like our
Sending you home
client,
with a
yeah,
piece of
exactly,
paper and a sitz bath.
yeah, exactly. So so we have food boxes that we give
Oh,
to
wow.
our families. We're wanting to eventually work with local farms and to create produce boxes
amazing.
and
There's so many.
indigenous farmers. Yeah. So that's a project that is currently on hold, but we're looking slowly getting into that aspect of it. And just right now we work with Mogro in obtaining the food boxes for our families, and so it's just all those little things, they're that cost. We do what we can to find the funding so that our families can feel safe and
Yes.
they're healthy. Yeah.
I mean, and this is really just such a powerful first step to really rebuilding and healing our communities and undoing so much of that ancestral trauma, from relocation to boarding schools to just all of it.
Yeah.
We don't have to get into the trauma and the drama because we all know that song and dance, but this is where it begins, bringing babies in a healthy way and empowering the women, because the women hold the family.
Yes.
And if we don't have strong women and strong children, then we don't have communities.
Exactly. Yes.
So, thank you for doing this.
So, it's been a journey, and I did want to, you talked about the trauma. Today is Missing Murdered Indigenous Women Day.
Is that today?
That's today. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that.
Yes, and I wanted to give a shout out to Nicole. She did a 10K in honor of the MMIW movement. So
Was that today?
That was
the one in
today.
Shiprock?
No, Nicole is out on the East Coast.
Oh, okay.
And so she participated in a 10K with other of her midwife friends, and she did it in honor of the MMIW movement.
So for those of you that aren't familiar, MMIW is an acronym. It stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls. And I'm not sure what the statistics are off the top of my head, but it's a staggering amount of Indigenous women and girls that have just gone missing or have been murdered. And it's a really big movement. I encourage you all to look into it. It's important to know about, and we're finally getting discussion around it. Finally. Because it's not like it just started happening.
No.
I've been studying this topic since high school, and it was an old topic then. 1 in 4 women and girls in Native communities are abused, and that's just the first of a long laundry list of statistics. So definitely want to take a minute to honor that day today. And I want to talk a little bit about your background, because you have some interesting things that you're doing. Where do we begin with you? Plants. You have a kinship with plants.
Yes. When I was about 13, I started studying the medicinal plants from my communities, and it was mainly for a science fair project. It was like, okay, let's go talk to grandma, let's go talk to the aunties and the uncles, and and ask them about the medicinal plants. And at that time, I was like, I didn't realize how it was going to become a huge part of my life, part of my journey. And
it's funny how our paths are revealed to us,
right?
isn't it?
And I didn't want to believe it because it was like outdoors, and I was the type of girl who didn't like to get my hands dirty, and didn't like to be out in the sun or the dirt, and so. It's really interesting how the tables have been flipped, and now I like being out in the in the sun and the dirt, get my hands dirty, it's been an incredible journey with the medicinal plants. And in 1997, I published a booklet with 15 medicinal plants that are commonly used in Acoma and Laguna. And so all the text and the photographs were approved by tribal council, both of them, and in it, that of itself is huge to get tribal council to say, yes, you can print this
Is this book
material.
still available?
I do have a limited number of the first run. I'm wanting to do a second run with additional plants because in the time that I've been learning the medicinal plants, it's increased, and so
That's up here. So can people order it from you?
yes, they can go to my website and order it online.
Oh, okay.
And
Tell Marco what it is, and he'll put it up there.
it's earthskygallery.com.
And this is where people can learn more about your floral business.
Yes, I'm you're like, well, she's a board president. How can she be a florist? Well,
I'm sure that's just the tip of the iceberg of the things that you are.
So 12 years ago, I had graduated from UNM and I had a newborn baby, and she was breastfeeding, and I knew I needed to get a job.
So many amazing stories start with, I had a baby.
Yes. And so I needed a job that was I could take my baby, breastfeed her, and be with her as much as possible. And so news in the community in Laguna spread that there was a floral shop that was for sale. And so I was like, okay, I could own a floral shop. How hard is it going to be to be an entrepreneur? So naive. This has been one of the toughest things I've ever done. But I've owned the shop for 12 years.
Wow, 12 years.
Yeah, and it's been a struggle. In the beginning, the struggle was obtaining capital to actually be able to put a down payment towards the purchase of the business, because I live on the reservation and my house is on the reservation, and even though I
don't have equity.
Yeah, so even though I own the home,
Mm-hmm.
I can't use it as collateral.
It's a whole other conversation that people don't realize.
Exactly.
All the land is held in trust, so you don't have, you can't put your home up to get a loan like you could if you lived off the reservation. So it creates this whole
at that
barrier.
time, all these traditional lenders, they were saying, well, if you had a mobile home or something that they could, if you defaulted, they could just uplift your home and haul it off. They would have given me a loan, but because my home was on a foundation, can't just uplift it and take it away if I defaulted. So it was a really big struggle in the beginning to actually start or purchase the business. But one organization, the New Mexico Development Loan Fund, or
Mm-hmm.
they're also known worldwide as the Loan Fund.
Mm-hmm.
Here in Albuquerque, they're the ones that took a risk on me, and they let me put up my car as collateral, family heirloom jewelry, furniture, things that they took a chance. This was the first time that they had ever kind of worked with a client who was not only lived on the reservation, who wanted her business on the reservation, and how are they going to do this? And so for 10 years, my family heirloom jewelry was in collateral for my loan, but it got paid off, and so it's been that was the first struggle. And then the other struggle is retail space. There's no retail space on the reservation
For the same reason.
Yeah. If there is any space, it's privately owned, or it's owned by, in Laguna, it was owned by the Laguna Development Corporation, which is more like a casino gaming operation.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, they weren't very focused on community-based or small businesses. It was mainly, gaming in the big sense, or businesses in the bigger sense.
Okay, yeah.
And so there's not much retail space. So just trying to find and fight for retail space has been a struggle.
Did you feel like giving up a lot of the time?
All the time. It's there's so many times where I go back through like my Facebook memories, and I'm like, oh my God, I almost gave up that time and that time and that time, because it's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's a struggle.
And now you're remodeling your space.
Yes, and so 4 years ago, 4 years ago, the space that I was in, it was on Acoma Reservation. It was a private owned, like, retail operation. I had this really, really, really nice space. But my dad was diagnosed with end-stage renal failure, and he was on 2 transplant lists, and one of them was the Mayo Clinic in Phoenix. And they told us, that if he gets the call that he's, on the transplant list, we have so much time to get him down to Phoenix. And so by the time my brother and I one day were like, well, I wonder how long it would take if we were here at the shop, you got the call, and 9
hours maybe.
It was to close the shop, to get everything together, to close everything, make sure things were safe, because at that time you're 6 weeks out, to get everything taken care of, staff brought in. He and I timed that it would take us at least an hour just to get from that location to home, then get Dad, get our stuff, and that we already lost an hour of that time just to take care of
so it just
the
wasn't
shop.
feasible.
So it wasn't, and so I said, well, let's close the space and move home. And so I moved into my garage at my house, and I literally worked in this about like a 6x6, 6x6 space, and that's where I created the magic.
So how are you indigenizing floral designs?
So with that, because we've just through the years, you go to floral events and there's nobody else that looks like you there. My floral designer who came with the business, she is from Laguna. She is professionally certified. She went to floral school, and she's the one that actually taught me, gave me the crash course in floral design. But when we would go to conventions or shows, there was nobody there that looked like us. And then when we would see these different designers creating designs, we're like, oh, we couldn't do that. Like the use of feathers, there was this gorgeous design, and there was like pheasant feathers, and Ladine, her name is Ladine Rough Surface. Ladine, elbowed me. She goes, oh, we would be in so much trouble if we use those, or even peacock feathers, or just all these different feathers, because Pueblos, women and Pueblos aren't supposed to use them in that way. And so we've had, so there's just different things that we don't do at my shop, because we don't want to go against our cultures and practices, but we also don't want to offend any other groups. Now, we did a wedding that she wanted feathers in there, and so but she's from Oklahoma tribe, and they're allowed to use feathers in their design work, so we incorporate it for her. So if your tribe and culture allows the women to use and touch the feathers, we're fine with that. We'll create that for you, but we really try to make people aware that that if there's something there, or a color you can't use, or like feathers, or something you can't use, let us know, and we'll make sure we don't go against what your culture will bring in us.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of places wouldn't even think to ask any of those questions.
Yeah, exactly. So because of that, we do a lot of sympathy work. And in the Dene culture, death is a taboo thing. But what my shop has been getting is a lot of Dene customers calling and saying, can you create our floral piece for our loved one who's gone? Because we call it a life tribute. We don't call it like a sympathy arrangement. Yeah. It's more like I feel that when given that honor to create that person's final life tribute, you're trying to incorporate their whole life in this one floral arrangement. And so I will spend time talking with the customer. And in Indigenous medicine, it's called a plática, so it's a heart-to-heart talk. So when you first meet a client, you have a heart-to-heart talk because you want to learn about the person that you're going to be treating.
Yes.
And so I take that kind of approach, the plática approach, to when I talk to people about their sympathy designs, and I want to know, what was that person like? What color did they like? Did they like? Did they have a favorite football team, or was there a favorite food? Did they
It's
laugh
almost
aloud?
like
Yeah,
creating a Dia de los Muertos altar
exactly.
in a flower arrangement.
Exactly. Yes.
Because you are a certified in Mexican healing as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Traditional Mexican healing.
Yeah. So in 2015, my son, 2005, my son wasn't even a year when there was a certificate program through UNM, the La Tranca in Cuernavaca, and the University of Morelos in Mexico. It was a joint certification program. They offered this class in Indigenous medicine, and my mom and I were like, well, let's take it. How tough is it going to be? And it was like, again, a whole different life journey presented to us, and in a year we learned about like the Indigenous medicine, their approach to healing, their use of the medicinal plants, and then we spent time in Mexico learning directly with the curanderas and curanderos. We learned about just all kinds of things.
Wow. Do you practice that now?
Yes.
Do you have clients that seek you out for that?
Yeah, but it's like this unusual combination of Indigenous medicine with like homeopathy and also Pueblo medicine.
Sure.
So it's just this real, unique
Well, it makes
approach.
sense for this part of the world for that to be the
exactly.
case.
Yeah, you kind of have to know how to navigate all the different cultures, especially here in New Mexico.
Yes. So someone is asking when you are doing a second book.
I gotta find a publisher.
If you know
so
any
if you know a
publishers.
publisher, I would love to do a second run. The first run was only 1,000 copies, and a number of them were donated to the schools, to any community members, to tribal council, to the libraries, and just as my gift back to the community.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Most recently, we've started to sell them more, but like I said, all the information in there does not go against any of the religious or the cultural practices of the Pueblo communities. It's kind of, it gives you an idea of how to use the medicinal plants, what they're used for, what the precautions are for it, because you can't just go and pick a plant and make it to
Right,
me, and
of
then you're
course.
like, oh my god, what happened?
Yeah.
There's ways you have to use the plant. Straighten the necklace.
Straighten her out. Okay, let's talk about this necklace a little bit. So, T.Skies is donating this beautiful squash blossom. It's valued at $3,000. If you're interested in purchasing it, let us know. All of the proceeds from it, all $3,000, will be directly donated to Changing Woman Initiative. And today we're talking with Shayai Lucero. She's the board president of Changing Woman Initiative, which is a Native American women's health collective based here in New Mexico. Additionally, these najas are available on our website, tskies.com. And all of the sales of these najas today, if you go online and buy any of them today, 100% of that will go towards Changing Women Initiative. 5% of profit of any of these through the month of May will go to Changing Women Initiative. So this is our way of celebrating Mother's Day here at T.Skies by honoring this group that works with Indigenous and Native American mothers, bringing in healthy, happy babies into the world. And there are some other designs of these as well on the website. So if you go on tskies.com, and Marco will post a link to that and has been posting links, you will be able to see the full collection. I'm going to go ahead and put this back up here. If you're interested in purchasing this to support Changing Women Initiative, please let us know. You can contact us through the different chats. We're on Facebook and YouTube right now, or you can give us a call. Our phone number here locally, you can call from anywhere, of course. It's 505-862-9443. And you can contact us at hello@tskies.com. So that's us and how you get a hold of us.
One big thing I do want to announce is that Changing Women Initiative is going to be moving to Albuquerque. One of our goals for this year is to move our clinic into Albuquerque, because what we've noticed is, or what we've in our current clientele, is that we're serving a lot of communities in the southern Rio Grande pueblos, as well as out in Navajo, and then the other pueblos west. And Albuquerque is kind of like that central city, yeah. Even from Farmington, even from all different points, it'll be centrally located.
That makes sense.
So we're hoping to get our clinic going, and we're going to be looking for property, and that's a whole different story.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. And so, but we're wanting to move because we see the need for local and easier access.
Yes, this does seem like a good place for it. That's exciting.
Yes, and it's cheaper too. Santa Fe is the cost of living is really high.
Spent 10 long years there.
It's sad because like the traditional or the original families of Santa Fe can't even live.
I know.
in their own community, and so we're really trying to work with that. And we're also doing like a lot of community partnerships within the community. There's another organization called the Breath of My Heart Birthplace. They do midwifery care, and then we're working with other community partners to do more wellness efforts, whether it's mental healing or whether it's just getting your family out and about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know Tewa Women United.
Yes.
Up in Santa Clara, Espanola.
Yeah,
area?
in Espanola area. Yes.
Yeah, they do a lot of good work.
Yeah, that's where one of our doulas came from. Was from Tewa Women United. Yeah. So, just trying to create those community partnerships, and
that's why we're my bees today, honoring community and how we all have to work together to create life, to keep life sustained. We all must work together like bees.
Yes,
which are all female. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah, there's the drones, but all the bees that do all the things
are
female.
Are the women. Yeah. Laguna just actually, there's actually bees that were just introduced into Laguna just recently. Through a youth organization,
like honeybees,
for the gardens, and so there's new colony of bees in Laguna.
There's actually hundreds of indigenous pollinators that are from here in New Mexico.
Yes,
I did a whole story on this, so
I love
learned all about it.
One of my other friends and I, we were struggling last year during the pandemic, and because he's a visual artist, a documentary filmmaker, and so when pandemic hit, he was having problems, of course, with work because everything just shut down in his industry. And so we were talking one night, late chat, because he's an insomniac like I am, and so we were talking, and then we're like, we should become beekeepers. It was one of our, it was like, and we were like, we could have a hive, and we could do this in Acoma, because he's also from Acoma, and so, we could put the hive here, and he and I had this whole, like, idea of, like, where we were going to put our bees, and so when I found out that there's bees in Laguna now, I told him, I said, someone took our idea, and there's bees in Laguna.
Well, I actually live right around the corner from one of the master beekeepers in New Mexico.
Oh.
He's a Mr. Ken Hayes.
Yes, he's I went to school at New Mexico Tech down in Socorro.
Oh, did he teach
And
there?
so he taught a couple of beekeepers down south.
Just the other day I was just trying to get home, and every year he does this bee seminar,
Yeah.
and he sells the boxes of bees. And they had people directing traffic because there was a line of people coming to get their bees and
Yes.
attend the seminar. And I was like, yes, keeping
Yes,
bees alive. I love it.
exactly.
It's on my
Yes.
list.
Yeah.
Next year is going to be the year that I get my bees.
Well, I'll be there. I'll help you. I'll help you take care of the bees.
Well, I think we're coming to an end here. I just wanted to see if anybody has any questions. We've got, what was that?
Oh, 10 minutes.
Oh,
Oh.
10 minutes? I saw Marco doing jazz hands. I thought we only had 5, but I guess we did start a little bit late. I'm not seeing any questions. Do you have any questions for us? Or for me?
No, we're just, like I said, CWI is expanding. One of our new projects is going to be doing more policy work in terms of maternal care. So we've been working with the Center for Reproductive Rights based out of Washington, D.C. in creating listening sessions with indigenous mothers. It's been from this area, and talking about their birth stories to kind of get an idea of how we can work to create policy that is better built around Native American culture and
That's
thought.
awesome.
And so we have a great policy consultant. Her name is their name is Indra Lucero. Sorry, Indra. Their name is Indra Lucero, and they're based out of Denver, Colorado. And then one of our other board members, Mamingua Flying Earth, she and Indra are working on this policy project. So it's really cool to see that. Other board members, we have Candice Garcia. She is from Kiwa Pueblo. She is our community engagement director. So she's been the one who has been opening the doors and getting other community partners to come in and to create that kind of relationship, build those relationships with various community organizations here in New Mexico and Arizona. Then we have Memory Sosi, who is our organizational development. So she's the one who is helping us, get everything together, get the organization together. She's doing some great work with our group. And then we have sustainability because, of course, every nonprofit organization is always raising money for whatever project, whether it's from, making sure that our clients who can afford the medical care are paid, their care is paid for, to, eventually creating this beautiful birth center that we want to bring into existence.
So that's
in
one of the things
future.
that you're working on
Yes.
fundraising for.
Yes, so we have, we're always fundraising, and we're
So if
always
people
looking
want
for
to go to
partners.
well, obviously you can, contribute in
Yes.
this way, but you can also go directly to their website and learn more about it and the birth center that they're trying to create.
Yeah, and then we're actually going to be revamping our website too. So we're in the process of not only reorganizing everything else, we're going to be having a brand new website that's going to be featured soon, and that's how I met you.
I took their
Because
pictures.
she took our board pictures, her pictures and headshots, and so you're a great photographer because
Oh,
you made
thank
everybody feel at ease, because all of us were very uncomfortable.
Oh, well, that's normal.
And
I mean, with a little camera pointed at your face. I mean, we're doing three of them now, so
Yeah, so
it's
it was
intimidating.
Yeah, so it was, you made us feel at ease, and bringing baby, also of course.
It's a little touch about.
Yeah, also helped us help our those of us that have ovaries that still ache. Give us a baby fix. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to close this out by just reading this beautiful quote that was in here. This is the brochure that I picked up today. Indigenous midwifery supports healing through creating environments where women can connect with their ancestral knowledge around their bodies while supporting them through their reproductive revolution of self-determination. I mean, that just says it all.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us, everybody. I hope you're busy ordering your najas for the mamas in your life. There's also a blog on the website that talks more about the organization, and another one talks about najas. I wrote a little something about najas and how the design came from Spain on Spanish horses. There's this whole fascinating history of how najas, the design, has traveled around. But I see it as a symbol of rebirth because it came from a culture of war and was taken and transformed into something beautiful and life-affirming, because it's a symbol of fertility and of the womb.
Yes.
Even in back
Even
in
in-
Spain.
Mhm.
So so it's kind of appropriate.
Yes.
So thank you all of the mothers out there for
Happy Mother's Day.
raising us and loving us and being there. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you tomorrow.